on the Gauntlet RPG. I am Ferret, the MC tonight. I also go by Sawyer. Pronouns wise, I use any. Most people tend to use he, him. That's fine. Um, Tonight we have several people that I have either only played with off Gauntlet or never played with before. So I'm going to start going around and letting them introduce themselves, and we'll see what world we create after we introduce ourselves. So I'll go in the order on my screen. Christopher, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Christopher, pronouns are he, him. This is going to be a new experience for me with Apocalypse World. Looking forward to it.
Steven.
Hey, I'm Steven, he, him. I've been with Gauntlet for a few months. I've played Apocalypse World in the past. Generally, the campaigns I've joined have tended to fall apart after the first few sessions. So, luckily, this only lasts a few sessions.
Yes, I have fond memories. Robert?
Yeah, hey, Robert, he, him pronouns. I've never played Apocalypse World, played several PBTA games, and I've been with the Gauntlet now for, I think it's actually a little over a year, which is crazy. Time flies.
And Robbie.
My name is Robbie, he, him pronouns. I also have played some Powered by the Apocalypse games, but have never played the one that started it all. So I'm excited to be playing it for the first time.
Okay, thank you all. Apocalypse World is the grandfather, the patron, whatever you want to call the creation of the Powered by the Apocalypse system. It can get clunky sometimes. The burned over edition is really interesting as well for those watching. But we will work through the clunk to get to the narrative goodness. But for those here, let's go to the Rusted Trust World Google document. And we're going to decide basically what is our world. Like, we have some ideas up of the Wuxia punk kind of Asian influences, and also the nature has come back with a vengeance, like Cadillacs and dinosaurs, where perhaps animals that were once extinct are now back, but you also can run them down with a semi-truck and maybe harvest them. Or if there are no semi-trucks, maybe you ride these great creatures. But just a nice nature reclamation idea. The only thing I'm not really keen on at the moment is heavy sci-fi, which is, like, to me, aliens. Like, the Fallout aesthetic would probably be as far as I go. Laser weapons, robotic people and creatures, mutations, that kind of thing. Is there anything that anyone would like to posit they would like to see with our world aesthetic-wise, or that it intrigues them for the apocalypse, or something they definitely don't want to see, like the hills have eyes kind of aesthetic?
I mean, something I was kind of toying with was that I was kind of thinking about a character with, like, sort of extreme body mods. So, I guess I like, how would is that specific or too vague or too specific to throw up there?
That could be interpreted many ways, like the scarification rituals, or like near transhumanity levels. Were you thinking like sort of a more sci-fi-ish, cyberpunkish kind of way? Or
I was thinking maybe a slightly more cyberpunkish, but maybe slightly more toned down for the apocalypse. Like, maybe, I guess, between like cyberpunk and Mad Max was kind of what I was imagining.
Yeah, that's fine on my end. If does anyone think any like against it or have anything wrong with that aesthetic?
So when you were talking body mods, are you thinking like high tech sort of body mods, or I'm just wondering, like, is there almost not quite steampunk level, but like diesel punk, I guess would be a better term for it. Something not like clean, like real cyberpunk, but like a dirty level of cyber of.
Yeah, that make diesel punk makes sense to me. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a aesthetic I can also get behind. A slightly fuel enriched world, diesel punk mixed with Mad Max kind of thing.
Yeah, because I like the idea of having that level of tech, but still making it, like a dirty tech.
Okay.
I'm also wondering, somewhat related to that, of also, I don't know if there is such a thing as with this idea of nature coming back, whether a kind of biopunk type thing where we have a world where, I mean, maybe part of the apocalyptic or the apocalypse was maybe a result of bioengineering in the past, and maybe it's gotten much more dirty now, but people have home biology labs and stuff like that that's been kind of going on, where people are have some genetics type breeding programs and things like that are kind of going on.
I like that, to build off that, like maybe to be sort of touching a real point, like the planet was going ape shit, geographically, geologically, and there was like terraforming ideas, terraforming machines, and maybe they worked too well, and the people who knew how to work them well, they're gone, but there's like a lot of traces of their touch, like they're the biosplicers, the organic mechanics, the people who it's like, oh, you want to go across the ocean? I mean, I can give you gills. That's fine. Is that a sort of direction you were thinking?
Yeah. So that the world right now would have some of that stuff around, but that they weren't really, the people in the world were not the ones that designed all of this, but some of them have some kind of knowledge of this stuff, and are kind of experimenting and playing around with it.
Yeah, I'm down for that. I think like maybe the technology has degraded if we want to keep the diesel punk aesthetic. Like they're sort of, I'm thinking of like Dying Earth from Jack Vance, where a lot of times people would be sitting on great treasures that if you knew how to work them, they'd be even greater treasures. But it's like now it's like this is my golden statue. But if you say the right words, it produces clean water for a day. Yeah, but it's pretty. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Okay, I'm fine with Wuxia Punk not being a main aesthetic choice with this now. I think we have a much better creation from the group, so I'm going to mark that off. But talking about technology, what would you want common technology to be, since we know what sort of the esoteric technology is? Christopher, how about you? What would you think would be like basic technology in this world?
I think, I don't know. We're going to have generators. There's still gas around. There's going to be there's still going to be computers, but global networking's kind of not a thing anymore. Maybe there's local networking in a community, or maybe it's something that's only the select few have. Maybe it's something that motivates some forays into the wilds to find more technology to bring back and hook it in. I don't know.
Yeah, I like that. And in Apocalypse World, there are no wrong answers. There's no wrong thing to say. There's basically just that's a good idea. We can build it, or like this, but so yeah. I like that. Steven, are you thinking about taking a prosthetic then with your character? Most likely with the body mods?
I need to look more specifically at what the prosthetic rules are, but
Oh, they're not in the ref book that I put up. Then.
oh, they're not.
No, they're in the Apocalypse World main rule book.
Okay.
It's basically like having a car. You get like strengths, looks, and weaknesses, but they're more personal. Like, does your half arm whisper to the psychic maelstrom when you sleep, or does it slip and slide when it's applied to your body, or does it look grotesquely inhuman, kind of things?
Okay. I'll take a look at those then.
And okay, so I think with this, is there anything else anyone wants to definitely see? Wants to like a Mad Max kind of tribalism, Fallout factions, or or just have us build that more with the characters, like see if anyone wants to be a hard holder, a water bearer, that kind of thing. Because I know I think we're people looking at a show, a brainer, and a hocus. I'm not sure if you've had a chance to look at the playbooks and thought about what you'd like to portray, Robert, or if this has stimulated an idea.
Yeah, I've just looked at them briefly. I haven't really decided on one yet, but I probably wasn't going to go with one of the ones that has a gang or anything like that. I played a game recently where I did that, so I just wanted to try something different.
Okay. So I think this is a good start. So I'm going to start giving our world some adjectives and things to build off of. I think like the first one, our world is bio-organically upgraded. We have the weird animals coming back, the overgrown nature, and specific tech. Oh, high tech, I'll say. Is there any other, what other words or descriptions I'll go around and ask each one of you sort of a descriptor you think applies to the world. So, in order on the screen again, Christopher, to put you on the spot.
Sure. I'm thinking mutations. Like, it could be of a lot of things. It could be plant life. It could be those weird animals. Maybe they're, old animals that we're familiar with, or dinosaurs or whatever, but they've mutated strangely.
I like that. Steven.
In need of beauty.
Okay. Hello, Kitty. Robert, a descriptor from you.
I'm thinking like desperately hopeful. Like the people are very desperate to. I think there's something that makes them cling on to hope that they can somehow get a better life, and they're desperate to get it. Like the people are not just completely, dead on morale at this point. There's something that is making people live on.
Got it. And Robbie, your descriptor.
I'm thinking something like it's kind of playing off that desperately hopeful. I'm thinking something of like, they're maybe say something like, adrift from tradition, and they have like this experimental spirit that, they're hopeful, and they don't see that, residing in the past at all, but they kind of have this, kind of future looking and very non-traditional kind of spirit.
How about eternally progressive?
Yeah.
Okay, and I know that we have two characters who are going to focus on weird, at least, maybe three depending on the show. So, Christopher, do you want me to read you? Well, Christopher and Robbie, do you want me to read you a description of the psychic maelstrom I had from another game to give you an idea of like what you might be creating with the psychic maelstrom?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, let me pull that up. Okay, this is for a game where set in Nashville with a G, Tennessee. But what is the psychic maelstrom? The psychic maelstrom is boredom, is dullness, is anhedonia. The maelstrom takes, scouring away the ability to feel certain emotions at a whim if people are not careful. Stimulation of the senses keeps the maelstrom at bay. Art, music, spectacle, creativity, showmanship. These things are what stand between the average person and the ever-present siphon. To those with high weird, the maelstrom caresses, the maelstrom clings, the maelstrom gets everywhere. To open your brain is to invite a controlling lover to you for the help they can give. Now, you don't need to be as poetic as that. It's fine to just be like, the psychic maelstrom is why the creatures are mutating, or mutations are more present when of areas high weird, or highly tainted by the maelstrom, or the maelstrom is, to even borrow like the happening in the wind. Harsh weather is a sign of the maelstrom. Like it can be pretty much anything. I like to say the most easiest thing to grasp for a maelstrom would be like the zombie apocalypse. The maelstrom would be the reason the zombies still move in blatant refusal of scientific law.
I had an idea that came up when we were talking about the terraforming or whatever that backfired on us, that perhaps the psychic maelstrom is related to Jung's idea of the collective unconsciousness, and like maybe our brains, had a particular evolutionary purpose for this unconsciousness, but the terraforming, whatever it did, it mutated certain genetics, and maybe the psychic maelstrom is kind of like a drawing certain elements of people and animals and insects, and making it more outward, making it bigger and not subtle at all.
So like a very, very strongly interpreted "we are all connected" feel.
Yeah. And some people, maybe they have the genetics to be tapped into that more than others. I don't know.
I like that. Okay. Do you like what I have written about your idea? I wasn't looking if you gave a thumbs up. Sorry.
I did.
Yeah. And Robbie, if you're still thinking hocus or even anything weird, what is like the maelstrom does connect, so followers would make a lot of sense. It seems that a community would be a good thing, but like what else is weird about the maelstrom, or what else does the maelstrom bring or take? And like feel free to play off the world, like if you wanted to, like the maelstrom to deny progressivism, maybe the places tainted by the maelstrom are heavy in tradition or steeped in old law.
So the maelstrom, I mean, it can bring. I mean, it can bring. Is the idea that it could bring benefits as well as, I mean, create havoc? I mean,
Oh yes,
it's a kind of. Um,
yeah. It seems that ours is very tied to nature, so like it definitely can bring as much good as it can bad.
mm-hmm. Yeah. I do. I mean, if it's connected to the unconscious and also has something to do with genetics, I'm wondering if it also is related to, or it has the ability to warp one's sense of identity in ways that could be good or could be bad, but it kind of it has definite impacts on the way that people kind of are thinking about themselves and who they were in the past.
I really like that. That's a very creepy feel of like even wanting to tap into the maelstrom. Okay. A bit more concrete, and then some bar forth apocalyptica about that. Stephen, were you thinking of going a high weird or high hot build for your show?
Yeah, I was thinking of going high weird as well.
Okay, so help craft this apocalypse Maelstrom madness with us. And you can look at your rig for ideas if you want to bring certain things into the world, like the death satellites or being able to hear your music for miles whenever you sing it.
Yeah, let me look at that ring again. Because I had a few thoughts to answer the question, but now just sorting them through my head. It wants harmony and to destroy that which can't be made to fit.
Ooh. Okay. I've added the bit of Barth's Fourth Apocalyptica and the more concrete part that does with the Maelstrom. So I think before we go into barter and abundances and scarcities, we may want to more concretely hammer out our playbooks. Robert, have you been looking up playbooks as this has been going on, or?
Yeah. Did everyone else pick one? Am I just the only one left?
What was like some people had ideas. I know Christopher wanted the brainer, Stephen wanted the show, and Robbie was looking at the hocus. With the way the maelstrom was, I think those are concretely set. Is that
Okay.
correct?
Yeah.
I was thinking the Battle Babe, if that works.
That is perfect. That is one of my favorite.
One of us that can actually get punched in the face.
Yeah, I thought that would help too.
I think the Battle Babe is probably one of the best written playbooks in Apocalypse World, both to be how it can be understood and what it brings to the world. So yeah, we'll just take a place on the character keeper. Write up your characters as you see fitting this world, and we will then. I think we'll take a break after you created your characters. We'll then finish up the world, do some introductions, and probably have some scenes. Yes, cat. You're a cat. And if you need any help with any of these playbooks, I have played them all, and I am here to help at every juncture needed.
So in terms of the moves, is there a place where you can grab the descriptions of the moves, or should I just keep that on my printed rule book?
Over in the Google Drive, there are some
Oh,
the ref books are there.
okay.
Sorry, what was that?
Yes, and I will point out just a bit of self flattery at the same time. There are 4 other brainer gear options in the Glamour 2 rulebook. I think one might be interesting to Sundown, which are the Meridian tattoos, which allow your brain damage to also be stun harm and psi harm.
I looked at that earlier and forgot all about it. Thanks for reminding me.
Yeah, I think the meanest thing I created was the well, it's like the violation glove, but you put restraints on someone and use them as an antenna for augury.
Let me look at that real quick.
Yeah, and like the descriptions, like for your followers, Robbie, like plus savagery, plus desperation, plus judgment. Those are also in the main rule book. If you have any questions about those, feel free to shoot them at me.
Okay, and then for the followers, should I be putting that on the holdings? Is that
No, you should be putting that under fortunes. Like for that, I would just put your total fortunes, like +1 or +2. I believe you can get how much barter you would get. Then like your two pro options and your 2 con options, so that they're not like whatever ones you get are up there, whatever bonuses you get, like insight or augury, are up there to be remembered.
okay?
Otherwise, they would probably go in gears and shit, because hold are a mechanic in game. Like you hold 1 against someone, you spend that hold to do something. Like with frenzy, where you hold 3 or 1 over the crowd.
Right. All right. So just to make sure, so I have this section on with followers.
Mm-hmm.
By default, you have around 20 followers. Okay, integrated and local fortune +1 surplus 1 barter. Okay, and then like they have all these details. Where do you want me to put, like, characterize them, and I get some choices for the
If you make like individual NPCs, there's an NPCs tab. Just like put their name up there, and like in the put their name where the name tab is, and like something about them. You can just put like your follower or how you want to flesh out your followers. If you want to flesh out like several name, like I would think that at the most you'd want to flesh out like 5 at the beginning and have some people for to be introduced as the game goes on, or like some faceless ones depending on like if desperation or desertion goes on or whatever wants trigger.
Okay. But then in terms of like some of these other choices, like, I get to choose, like in general, how, like my followers could be rigorous and argumentative, which get surplus +1 insight. So all of that material.
Make a note of it, maybe in gear or their gear notes section.
Okay.
Yeah. And Stephen, feel free to pick custom rig options if you have an idea that flows with the world or anything like that. Like one of the custom ones I used is people sensitive to the world's psychic maelstrom knows the lyrics and sing along if you fucking say to.
Cool. Okay.
Like for like your implants, you might want something like "I am music." I am the instrument, and no one can take it away from me.
Yeah, I was thinking more on the third. That was something I was thinking of for my rig.
I'm really liking the Somerset vibe so far, Robert.
Yeah, I'm having fun with this.
And Sundown's just brutally terrifying with scalpels and void restraints. So you're not going anywhere, and if you don't help me out, well, I have ways.
What about when you play wild beasts from miles around will gather to listen?
Oh, I like that. You're going to disrupt some migration patterns. Okay, it looks like people are mostly done, or I think finished. If you are, give a thumbs up or a sign. Okay. Um, do you need any help, Robbie, or you think you're close to done?
I'm looking at it. I think I'm close to done. Looking at my. I mean, my gear, it just, it says I have no gear to speak of, just oddments worth 4 barter. So I don't.
Yeah. Yep. Since Burned Over has given the what the Hocus became, it's some sort of it can be a cross between 3 playbooks now. Like they give them a weapon of last resort. Would you want a weapon of last resort for your gear, or are you fine having no gear?
Uh, the weapon of last resort would be what? Some
Like it doesn't do more than 2 harm. It'd be like a kitchen knife, like 2 harm hand, or an ice pick, 3 harm intimate, or like a an antique revolver, 2 harm close loud reload, but like nothing spectacular.
Yeah, I think I'm probably good just taking the basic oddments.
Okay, so I'm going to like you guys can take around a 10-minute break. I'll like be back 7 after the hour. I'm going to check your characters out, make some leading questions, and we'll finish filling out this world.
For a note for you, just the first choice for my rig is a little up in the air, but the other two I'm mostly fine with.
Steven, one thing for your rig, in games where there are large or mutated animals, I also allow them to be ridden like with the vehicle rules, if you can build one like a vehicle.
Okay.
I mean, if that interests you. No need if it doesn't.
I mean, maybe it depends on. I was kind of. It was one of the reasons I was kind of flipping around on what the third on what like while I have two down, what the third should be. Because it kind of. I don't know if people are like kind of creating characters that are going to be like moving around much. Like after character creation, if it seems like we'll be moving around much more, I feel like it might be better to change up to like add in a more mobile option. We'll see.
I've also written 3 questions for every character on Rusted Trust World. Feel free to answer them, and if you have any questions about your question, shoot it at me. Hello, Robbie. I have
Hey.
added questions for everyone's character on the Rusted Trust World document. So, and if you have any questions about what I've asked, shoot them towards me and I will clarify what I have done, but feel free to answer them in any way you want. I also recommend page 38 of the ref book, as this has a buttload of names and we will need it for the next step. It looks like people are finished or finishing up. I've added the NPCs that are alive, at least, to the NPC board. We'll flesh them out more as the game goes on, but I'm really liking Solex, the old mentor, as he's being created. Doghead sounds terrifying. The monster of the maelstrom sounds terrifying. And I want to know why Lord Newton's such a wanker. We will in time. Okay, if you are not on page 38 of the ref book, I suggest it now because we are going to discover what our world has and lacks with abundances and scarcities. And the page will have a list of resources. Feel free to use these resources as an abundance or scarcity, or to name one off of your own. But I'm going to go in character keeper order and ask you for either an abundance or a scarcity. And this will flavor the world with either a lot of something or too little.
So which rule book should we be on?
The ref book, page 38.
Oh, 38.
Yeah.
So the basic ref book, is that the...
Yes, the Apocalypse World basic ref book.
Okay.
Let me check if it's 38 on this one as well. Yes, 38 is the threat map. Okay, so dissonance. Oh, Piper, you've changed your name. I'll have to.
Yeah, when I came up with the idea of calling animals, I went like, there we go.
Okay, I'll make a note of that in our things. You seem to have lost a lot, so I'm going to ask you for a scarcity of the world. What is our world lacking?
Well, kind of playing off of what people have talked about being in the maelstrom, I think memory.
Ooh. Like with that question I asked about your name being taken and lost. That's that seems like that plays into that very well. That can be worked out. So next is Xenophon, and you bring a lot to the world. So what does the world give to you? Name me an abundance, something the world has plenty of.
Now for this, should I be looking at the list of resources?
Yes, that you can look at. You can pick something off that, or that should give you a jumping off point for making up one of your own for a custom one.
So what does it have an abundance of?
And that means like you would probably never run out of that in this world. Like, for example, know-how would mean that like perhaps like that would be the scientific information that's not dying. Like maybe this person doesn't know how to augment your body how you want to, but someone a few doors down will. Or if you have like a bunch of salt, it might be near the ocean and it's easily collected, or there's a special dam that collects it, or it's just rock salt in the ground. And so things are well preserved and kept. It's up to you.
Why don't we say we could say like an abundance of I'm just thinking like if there's some like kind of out of whack biology maybe plant stuff going on. Maybe, we have an abundance of grain and fruit. I mean, that like plants are going kind of crazy all over the place. So, finding kind of
Maybe an abundance crops, just like they grow wild.
yes,
Or an
yeah,
abundance forage.
yeah. I mean, there's yeah. It may not taste good, but you can find forage food is around.
Okay. Up next is Sundown, and you've taken a lot from the world. What has the world not given to you? Give me a scarcity.
Let me think. um, Actually, can we come back to me?
Yes, we can.
Thank you.
Somerset, you have a lot, but you're still going to be gaining. Give me an abundance.
I think we have an abundance of, I think, skilled labor.
Okay. I can see that.
I think there's a lot of people who have spent a lot of time honing their craft.
And if you're ready, Christopher.
Yeah, loyalty. And it's my own doing, because early on I took and took and took. I was out of control. The maelstrom just kind of made me drunk with weird power, and I used people. I took their stuff. I ran, and she's kind of, they're kind of two minds all the time. They want closeness. They want to wrap their arms and legs around the world, and at the same time, also keep them at a complete distance. So,
I like that. Do you think there are others like you in the world, or are you the only one that's this powerful? And the others like you, they don't have to be like powerful like you in the exact same way. They don't have to be brainers. You are the only brainer, but they might be kin or threats.
I think there's a thread of people who have had similar experiences, and the choices they've made and kind of the environment they've been in through all that has given them different paths. My path was my own because of choices that I made, and because of the specific people that were in it. But other people have had similar experiences and come out differently.
Okay. And I think I will add one more abundance and one more scarcity. I think for abundances, I want ruins, like buildings taken up with overgrowth. The old mall where we scavenged from the seasons. There are no hibernators ever in there, but just a lot of beautiful and bad architecture. And scarcity going, we have memory, loyalty. I think a physical scarcity is just meat. It's not that it's not abundant, it's just that most animals are protected now. Most animals are just either too big, too ferocious, too cute. You just don't eat something. And when there is meat, it is generally I think seafood is different. Like we may live near lakes, rivers, oceans, but actual animal meat is a thing to be celebrated. Okay, and I think the final thing about the world is that we need to know what our barter is if we care. So I will ask, do we care what barter is, or do we want to leave it more like abstract, like anything scavenged can be barter? So, like, I found uh, a music box. This is pretty, and I can sell it for someone. Or I have 2 pounds of beef jerky. That's 2 barter.
I like that. I like leaving it loose.
Okay. Everyone good with it just being loose and undefined?
Sure.
Okay. And there are 2 custom moves. These I find ease people new to Apocalypse World in better. The first one is Dramatic Intimacy. Your special moves can trigger beyond just sex. If you have a moment of intimacy in the fiction and you feel it appropriate, you may trigger your special move. You do not need to trigger your special move if you do not feel particularly intimate or if you do not want to. So this can create like one-sided bounces, like if Sundown and Somerset are spending time like after a big hunt that they got an animal that they're going to harvest and it becomes more intimate, they can talk about their friendship and maybe read some minds or trigger both moves and nothing happens. And the other one is for the more PvP or character versus character stuff. It's called Vengeance. Whenever you roll to interfere with another PC's roll, which is a history move that gives them -1 or -2 to a roll they've made, that person you interfere with marks experience. So there is a good thing that comes out of you screwing with someone's roll, even if even if you have to do it because they are coming after you violently, or they're trying to seduce you, or they're just trying to read out your motivations. Don't feel bad about interfering. And there may be more custom moves as time goes on, but I think we're at the point where we can start introducing our characters and going through history. So, to start us off in Character Keeper order again, let's do Piper. Please tell us about your looks and I think a little bit about what this show is, perhaps, and what your mindset is, if that helps. Or you're muted.
Yeah, I'm Piper. The P is short for Pied, but everybody just calls me Piper. But yeah, I'm playing the show. They are transgressing, scrounger cheeks, chiseled face, intense eyes, and angular body. I think really though the most like standout thing about them is that their chest, they've basically kind of installed a bunch of exhaust pipes into their chest that they have used to make their body into basically an organ. And that's the main way that they play their music. The kind of the core thing of the show, and it will come up in history, is that I always have someone who is my leash because I both have the ability to make art, but I also need someone me because I don't manage my own money. I'm not good with that stuff. Sometimes I'll just spend 3 barter on a loaf of bread. Who knows? But yeah, basically one of the big things is that I just do fucking crazy things with music, and that I will run through your money, all of the rest of yours money like fire, but also make you a lot of money. So we'll see.
Sounds good. Xenophon, will you introduce yourself? And probably, if I'm mispronouncing your name, please correct me.
Yeah, no, Xenophon sounds correct. So Xenophon is the hocus, man, formal attire, ascetic face, burning eyes, a bony body. He presents himself as a teacher of new truths and is surrounded by a small group of followers who are his students. And we'll I guess with the history kind of find out a little bit more about that. But he is somebody who is dedicated to knowledge. I think he comes across, I think, as rather unemotional oftentimes and rather strict. But his followers seem to be pretty dedicated to his teachings.
I like that. And up next are wonderful, never going to cause me any problems brainer, Sundown.
Sundown is a very confused individual. Ambiguous right down to the way they look. Wears this really way too heavy coat. It's fur-lined parka, boots, very pale, wet eyes. They their entire life, because of the maelstrom, take and take and take and take and take. But really, they want connection. They want loyalty. They want all of the benefits of connection, and yet always comes back to take, take, take. And in relationships with people, it's always either very, very aloof or there's no boundaries whatsoever, crossing other people's boundaries. So it's they don't know which way they're going. I think that's it.
Say your brainer gear is really important, so you might want to just
Sure.
call out what 2 pieces you have.
Yeah. So they've got a brain relay, so that normally you would have to be in sight of the brainer. The brainer would have to be visible to the person that they're doing their weird shit on. But with the brain relay, only the brain relay has to be visible to the person that the brainer's acting on. The other one is the void restraints. Put these on someone else or yourself to use them as an antenna for augury. So that you can, I've lost my place in the book where it talks about it, but basically it's finding things out or injecting something into the maelstrom. It's to do with what's in the maelstrom or what's coming from it, it seemed like.
Yes, it is the most complicated and powerful move of the game. And last but not least, Somerset. Introduce yourself.
Yeah, so Somerset is the battle babe. She wears very showy armor, kind of like covered in chains. It's like form-fitting leather armor covered in chains. She's got a very sweet face to her. You know, if you saw her talking to someone, you know, across the room without really getting a good look at her, you'd think just, you know, she's the sweetest looking woman you ever saw. And then she gives you a look, you know, if you see her, if she catches your eye, you know, it's the kind of look that could like stop your heart. She's also got a couple custom weapons. The first of which is she has like a leather harness that she wears on her head with a chain on top that she uses as kind of like a chain whip from the top of her head, almost like it, you know, if she has very, very short hair, so this kind of acts as her hair, and it's like a big chain braid on top of her head. And then she also has a very large revolver pistol.
Oh, we lost Steven. Give me a sec. I don't know. I think his computer might have frozen or something. Oh, there we go. Hello.
Sorry, my internet blipped out for a sec.
Okay. With that, I think we can go around and. Did you get the last bit of Somerset, or did it blip out during Somerset's introduction? Oh no, did it blip out again? There you are. It seemed to freeze for a second, but did you hear everything from Somerset?
No, sorry. Immediately after I said it was resolved, it blipped. My internet it froze up again. Sorry.
Okay. Did you hear anything from Sunset or I mean Somerset, not Sunset, the Battle Babe?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Do you want
Sorry.
to tell it Somerset, or should I do the?
You can give the short version. Also,
Yeah.
Somerset and Sundown is going to be a fun combo of words to
Yes.
remember.
I had an entire Apocalypse World game where everyone's name began with H. It was a trip. But Somerset is the Battle Babe, likes chains. Her main chain weapon is like a chain braid she uses as her hair. Her hair is cut short, and she has a huge, powerful hand cannon, which will knock you down. And her stats show that she is quite the stunner, and she can freeze you in a charged situation and ice cold, which is just wonderful history in cold times. But I think it's time to go around and do history. We will start with Piper again. And Piper, yours is quite easy on your end.
Yeah. I'm just now to clarify. What exactly are your like teachings, Robbie, of or Xenophon?
Yeah. I mean, I think one thing is that Xenophon, when when he encounters somebody who might be a new student, right, that there's like this radical questioning everything that kind of he starts with, just kind of breaks somebody down, never really questioned to really cast all that into doubt before you can really kind of rebuild something that actually would be lasting. And
Yeah,
a
but
lot of
Piper
people,
doesn't trust that. So I'm gonna give my leash to Sundown.
I did not expect that, but I am very happy it happened. So yeah, you mark history +2 with Sundown, and whatever happens with Sundown's history, you copy with the other two players. So, history questions for those who are new to the game or under the part of your character playbook called HX, which is the abbreviation for history. So, Xenophon, you do not have to. You should probably ask at least one of the questions. If you don't, you can ask both if you'd like. And if you would like to ask none and just get the basic uh, history results, you can, but it's best to tie in together.
okay, so let's see. I kind of like this one. Which of you are my followers?
I know Piper is not.
No.
Sundown's intrigued, but being broken down by somebody else is difficult. So Piper's not a, I'm sorry, Sundown's not a follower per se, but definitely intrigued.
Somerset, does being broken down, asked a lot of questions, and seeing where your life's going sound fun to Sundown? I mean, Somerset. This.
I could see that working if we want to go that way. Because I feel like she's been through a lot, but she just keeps moving, and I think that could work.
Okay. So mark history +2 with Somerset, Xenophon.
Okay.
And I really like your other question that you could ask.
Should I do that now or?
Yes.
Okay. So the other one is, one of you, I've seen your soul. Which one? I have seen somebody's soul.
Sundown, you've seen my soul.
Okay, and I will ask Sundown, what did Xenophon see when he saw your soul?
Something of a frightened animal, really longing for connection.
Ooh. So yeah, get history +3 with Sundown. And I believe that gives you an automatic +1 with Piper.
Yes.
And speaking of fun questions, the Brainer's history questions.
Let's take them in order here. Which one of you has slept in my presence, knowingly or unknowingly?
Oh yeah, I have. I crashed on your. I'm crashing on your couch as we speak.
Okay, that's HX +2.
Mm-hmm.
Next one. Which one of you have I been watching carefully in secret?
And you may want to read out the other one just in
Sure.
case you prefer the...
Sure, the last one is, which one of you most evidently dislikes and distrusts me?
I could see that you maybe. So the first one was, which one of you have you been watching secretly?
Carefully in secret, yeah.
Yeah, I think that could be Xenophon. I mean, you were saying that you were a little intrigued.
Yeah,
So to
yeah, that makes
follow
sense.
that.
Yeah, and I could definitely see Somerset as evidently disliking it and or distrusting you.
Cool. Thank you.
And Somerset, you get one question you must ask everyone.
Yeah, so the question for everyone is, well, I guess, yeah, asking everyone which of their characters you can trust. So, can I trust any of you?
Piper, can Somerset trust you?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Xenophon, can Somerset trust you? Her mentor.
Yeah, I think the answer would be yes. I mean, since Somerset is a follower, yes, certainly.
And the fun answer I saw was Sundown. Can Somerset trust you?
I don't think Sundown can trust Sundown.
Yeah. And I believe coming back around to make sure, Piper, you get +3 with both Xenophon and Somerset due to Sundown's answers.
Okay. Wow. Know everyone so well.
Oh, God, you're going to be asking the insane brainer if what you're doing is okay. This is going to be fun. Okay. And with that done, I think we can get started with some scenes. I will ask, just in case, do we want to take another quick break and sort of refresh up before a scene, or do we want to jump into it?
I could use a quick break. It doesn't have to be long.
Yeah, I'm fine with a quick break.
Okay, let's do a 5-minute break. Be back at 55 after the hour.
Thanks.
Okay, Welcome back. We're going to do the beginning of session starts for the game, which will become rote, hopefully. So the way you gain experience in Apocalypse World is that any time you roll a highlighted stat, you mark 1 experience. Once you've gotten 5 experience, you immediately advance. This can be influenced by the scene, like I had a driver who was causing a riot. She leveled up and took not to be fucked with, so she could fight as like she was a gang to the riot. Or so you take the advance as soon as you get the points for it. And generally, I'm fine waiting like between games or like between scenes. If you want the scene to end before you get the advance, that's fine. Highlighting is generally a way to push people towards something you want to see, because the MC highlights 1 stat, and the player with the highest history, or if tied, the player you choose, highlights your stat. So, like, I'll show off with Piper, since Steven's done this before. Piper, who do you want to highlight for you? You are muted.
Right. On here, I have 2 people who are at 3. And I will have Somerset highlight for me. So which of my stats do you want me to highlight?
And this is what you want them to, you would like to see them roll or like act like. So if you want them to be more manipulative, maybe hot. If you want them to be very good with their weird ass music, weird.
To sum up, weird is my high stat, hard is my low stat, and cool and hot are at 1.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and say weird.
Okay.
And I will be kind and say hot. So next, Xenophon, who highlights for you?
So that would be Sundown is the highest history.
You are muted, Christopher.
Thank you. It's got to be weird.
And I think I want you to be on edge, so cool. So Sundown, you get to pick who highlights for you, I believe.
It says, let me see here. One of the characters with the highest HX, which is going to be Somerset.
I had misread the Brainer's history questions.
I'm going to highlight Sharp.
Sharp.
And since I am a nice ferret, I will highlight Weird. So now you're crazy and paranoid.
That works.
And Somerset, who highlights for you?
Xenophon.
I think definitely cool.
And I want to see you be manipulative as well as violent. So hot. Okay, and we have 1 beginning of session move. That means, Xenophon, you must roll fortunes, which will be 2d6 plus your fortunes of 1 to see how well your followers are doing.
All right.
The roll for your party link is in the Lines and Veils tab, or the safety and roll for your party link.
So I rolled a 7 plus 1 will be an 8.
So that means that you choose 1 want of theirs, and you get the barter that they everything that they have is available to you: the augury, the growth, and the barter.
Okay, so 1 want. Let's see what I put here. Let's go with desperation.
Okay. And with that, we are ready to play. It also helps me plant the first scene, I think. So I'm going to focus in on Xenophon and Somerset. The sun is not, it's not yet noon. It's earlier than that. And we are at one of the well-kept ruins. Xenophon, what is this a ruin of? If no, I don't do lifestyle at the first session. I do it as the start of this next session. But yeah, Xenophon, what are these ruins of, or like what would the audience know them to be of?
I think it's a. I think it's pretty decrepit state, but I think it seems to be some type of place of worship from the past, but it's kind of run down rubble.
Yeah. And I think your followers are making like the most out of it. They like what's old is new, what's new is old, and they are like they've made the pews are too feeble to hold them, the wood is too old, but they've like put all the old holy books into seats and are sitting on small stools as you stand and give your sermon. Somerset, you are a follower. How devoutly are you tying to this?
Not too devoutly, because I think all the other followers are sitting in their pews and trying to be, good little followers. And I'm cool with following, but I got to be cool about it, and hang off to the side and just sort of, barely. I'm acting like I'm barely paying attention, but I'm really, listening to every word.
Yeah. And so I think as like the preaching goes on and the sun rises, like the shadows start moving across the walls from the sun, just marking its way through the sky. And at a lull, where the followers would be talking amongst themselves, being more insightful in their own way, their own interpretations of what Xenophon has said, there's a snapping of a branch outside. What do both of you do?
I think so. Is the sermon is still going on?
I think we're like at a point where Xenophon has his followers like discuss amongst themselves what his words mean, so they're not like there's no rifts in the schisms or like schisms popping up. There's no rifts of like I believe Xenophon meant X. Well, I meant Y. It's like, well, let's discuss and see what it means to you. If that's okay, Xenophon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think Somerset is not one for group projects, so I think she would probably use this as an excuse to step out and just check out what that noise was.
Okay. I will say that you are walking into a charged situation. There is one move you must roll for this, and one move or you might want to roll for this. So roll me dangerous and sexy first.
Okay. Let's see. What am I rolling?
You're rolling hot.
Hot. Okay. So that is a 10.
Good. Hold 2, mark experience. And the other move you may want to do is reading a sitch, which is a basic move that uses sharp. It generally allows you to ask questions about what the situation you're walking into or that is charged, and those answers will give you +1 forward to acting on them.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and roll that as well. That's a 9.
Okay. Check out the list under Read a Sitch in the basic ref book, page 27, and choose one to ask.
I guess. What should I be on the lookout for?
An ambush. You're used to this area. You've been scouting it out for days to make sure that this collection of or collection of speeches would go well. The bird sound that you're hearing is not native to the area. It is obviously a call. So, do you press forward into the bush? Do you try to lure them to you? Do you go in and warn the followers?
Yeah, I think I would probably want to go in and talk to Xenophon directly to warn him.
Understood. So, yeah, Xenophon, you see Somerset walking towards you. What do you do?
Yeah, I guess I say, Somerset, I saw you step out. Is there something wrong?
Yeah, I mean, I had to take a fucking smoke break. No, I heard something out there. I don't know. There's some, it could be somebody out there. I didn't want to freak the whole crowd out or anything. But, I heard, like a call. I don't think it ain't no bird.
So are you telling me that you think this is something potentially dangerous?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's one way to put it. Probably dangerous for whoever's going to come here. Because I'm going to fucking kill them if they're trying to interrupt this thing that we've been planning.
I think with that, I say to Somerset, well, if it would do no harm to be cautious with this. I think maybe we should retreat further back into the building and see what happens, but be on the alert for it.
Yeah. I think that's a good idea. We can give the crowd here a little field trip inside. That's good.
And so, Xenophon at this point, he's not going to yell it out, but he will hold up his hand and say to the students, there may be somebody or a group arriving. I think we should retreat back further and take some type of cautious defensive posture.
Okay, I think the followers are. I think some of them sort of talk about, like, should we meet and talk first? And it does not last long before your words are carried out. They get up, but you can see that there's some distress on their face. They don't. This was supposed to be more of a peaceful interaction, and now they're having to move back for defensive positions. I think Somerset is probably your only follower who's used to being able to dole out violence or even has the weapons to commit. But I will give you do you want narratively just for them to successfully achieve the position, or would you want to act under fire to see if the positioning is more like you could get like a better positioning, I guess, by acting under fire, leaving it up to chance, or just narratively pull back to the back?
I think I think I might want to roll an act under fire. I think I would be looking to Somerset to maybe give some. I mean, Somerset is the one most equipped to, if things get nasty. Somerset's the one most equipped to deal with this. So I think I would also be looking to Somerset for a little bit of advice as to as we're moving back, where she thinks would be the best to kind of position people.
Yeah, so this is definitely act under fire, with Somerset being able to help if things get that way. So you're rolling cool, which for you is +1, so 2d6 +1.
So I rolled a 7, so that would be an 8.
Somerset, do you want to help? You have good history with
Yeah.
Xenophon.
Yeah,
So roll
whatever.
2d6 plus your history score.
That's a 9.
Okay, so it only brings you up to a 9. I think you will find you can find exceptional cover, like you find like an old bomb shelter, but inside is propaganda from the old world that your people will be exposed to.
I mean, I think given the circumstance, I think we still take the cover back there.
Okay.
I can straighten them out if their minds are tainted.
Yeah, so you lock yourself in with like what amounts to a well, I'll ask, does Somerset lock herself in, or does she stay outside?
I think Somerset's gonna stick outside.
Yeah, so like inside there's like a bunch of like basically like World War II propaganda style things of uh, there will be no morn without the terraform. There will be like a augment yourself, augment survival, just all sorts of like I think what's that one? The genetic opera style, repo, the genetic opera style, kind of like augment posters, and as the last follower gets in, the door is closed, locked from the inside, and you can hear from the upstairs just steps of people coming in. And I think from the acoustics and the positioning Somerset has, she can hear it's just, boss, it was supposed to be easy. There's just a bunch of hippies. And a loud crack of something being hit, it's probably equipment against bone, maybe a pistol. It's like, easy? Well, where are they? Look, let's split up and check around. And I think we'll end this scene with the sound of footsteps coming down the stairs and move on to Piper and Sundown's first scene. So I will ask, I think I will ask Piper, where has Sundown taken you? And is it where they said they were taking you? You're muted.
I mean, I think they took me to Doghead's compound.
And is this where they said they were taking you?
Uh, nah, they said they were taking me over to the uh I'm just trying to think of a good
The harvest fields? Town.
Maggie's sixth finger. It's
Ooh.
it's a popular mutant get together spot out in the ruins.
Ooh. Let me write that down. Okay, and Sundown, you've managed to get into the compound. What did it take for you to do this? Or was it just like the right time, the right place, some bribery?
So the compound, how heavily guarded are we talking? I mean,
I think to me, Doghead is he's a lot like Charles, like what Charles Manson would be like, or like any cult leader. He wants people to feel at ease. It's not like obviously guarded, but I think anyone who has like much combat preparation or training or are sufficiently paranoid see that most people are carrying weapons on them, be like a small 38 revolver, a kitchen knife, an actual machete. Like, people are obviously armed and ready to defend themselves if it comes to that.
I think we're just gonna kind of wander up. It's a local savior, right? I'm curious about this, and I misled Piper because I know Piper's kind of freaked out about Doghead. Thinks that Doghead is just a puppet of the Maelstrom, and my real purpose is more to kind of investigate. But we're gonna play it off like we're just, checking things out.
Yeah, and I think you come in and there is this greeter, and I think most people generally get one greeter, like the person that looks to be their most attractive opposite sex member, but with both of you, you get a male and a female greeter who are a bit confused as they step forward, and they keep trying to be friendly in ways that hint at things that are less than public. But greetings, yes, greetings. Welcome to Doghead's wondrous Elysian fields, where everything is possible. Yes, everything. May we help you? May we anoint you?
How are you going to anoint me?
And I think they pull out these very aromatic, but I think Sundown knows them as carnivorous flowers that have been dried and turned into headbands.
Carnivorous flowers that have been dried. So do they still have like effects even though they're dried?
They do not eat anything, like they're dead, but they do. They smell strongly like patchouli would. It's like it's to keep the scent down because you don't see many places to bathe around here.
Sure. I'll reach out my hand and take one and put it on top of my parka hat. I mean, it's a hood. Just gonna put it on top of the hood. Thanks.
And I will say, since open your brain is the most elastic move, would you want to open your brain about this compound by anointing your hat?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you would roll weird, and what question do you have about this compound? Or would it just be like, want to know more about the compound?
Yeah, I want to know more about the compound. Let me rolling for weird. It's 2d6, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a 9 plus. Where am I? 9 plus my weird is 2, I think. So it's 11.
Yes, and you get like with on a 10 plus on open your brain, like when you read a situation, you take +1 when acting on this information or what you think this information is pushing you to do. So you put on the flowers and you see the people in the fields collecting them, their fingers bleeding from the multiple bites of these carnivorous plants. And you feel the lack of connection they have with the world, with the Maelstrom. Like, the Maelstrom can't bring them anything. And I think, like, as you do, like, you're sort of beginning to get this aerial view of them all dripping their bloody fingers from picking the plants into this bowl, and this huge dog head comes down and begins drinking from the bowl, and you sort of snap back to reality as the scents keep steeping in your brain.
Okay. I'm just gonna nod. Thanks. Piper, you gonna take these?
What was that?
You gonna take one of these wreaths of flowers?
I think that you're adequately anointed for both of us.
But they're beautiful in their way.
Hmm. I kind of glower at you a bit, and then I kind of bend over a little bit and let one of them put it on me because I'm not picking it up myself.
And I think each one of the two puts one hand on the wreath and places it on you, and they smile and move back into the tumult of the compound. And you're walking through, and how have things changed dramatically since you were here last, Piper? Like, does the compound move about? Is it like Woodstock or more of a set city?
It's more of a set city. Like I think that probably what I've noticed is that since I last was here, the the compound's gotten larger. Like it's almost been slowly like expanding outward and consuming like the town. It used to just be like a like it used to be there was a compound in the town, and now there's kind of a town that's at like the outskirts of the compound.
Hmm. And I think as you're walking in, one of the like I think a few people start turning and noticing Piper, and don't remember all their faces, or maybe things have changed. Maybe they're a bit more dedicated to the cause, tattooed more, covered in makeup, but you're beginning to recognize people. And I think, do you feel this charges the situation?
I mean, yeah, Piper's been pretty tense since the moment we got in here.
Do you want to read a situation or read a person?
Yeah, I'll read a situation. We'll see if that doesn't blow up in my face.
Yay!
Let us see here. It probably will, but you know, you still have to try. Um and let's see, read a situation is sharp, right? Or is it cool?
Correct. It's sharp.
Okay, so I believe that is 7, and let me just double check that. Yes.
Okay. Ask one of the questions.
Okay. Let's see. What should I be on the lookout for?
I think Doghead's influence. You don't remember exactly which one of these were under his control and which ones may not have been under his control but are now. But they're obviously keeping tabs on you.
Hmm. I guess I kind of lean into to you uh sorry, just still remembering people's names. Sundown.
Sundown?
Yeah, and I say that I believe that I have the eye of Doghead's attention. It's been a long time, and I was literally a different person then. But I think that if we were to separate, his attention, the attention of his followers would follow me, leaving you free to explore at your leisure.
Okay. That's good. Are you okay with that?
There's a kind of quaver of my pipes resonating slightly dissonantly with themselves as I say this. Of course I am. It's a rather obvious lie, but
It was a good try. I'll act like I believe you.
So yeah, do you, if you want to act under fire, taking +1 forward to escape the notice of these jerks, Piper.
well, I'm trying to distract.
Oh yeah, I feel like
Okay.
this is like you distracting them, but not being caught by them.
Oh, okay, I see. That makes sense. Yes. And that's another 7, and I'm just going to double check to make certain these are actually re-rolling. Yes, okay, they're actually re-rolling, but yeah, it was another 7. So that's an 8.
That'd be a 9 with the +1. So yeah, I think you can escape their notice, but you'll run into like I'd say like the person you least wanted to see, but not for like a violent reason, like maybe an ex or a like a mentor or like someone you were close to. Or you can keep the attention of the people who have been watching you.
Yeah, and yeah, I'll go with let's see here, names. Yeah, I'll go with Clarion. Yeah, yeah, he's an ex of mine. He did not leave the compound when I did. And he's largely remained a part of like Doghead's followers.
You said your friend or your
Ex.
okay.
It's hard to stay a couple when one of you is a member of a cult and the other has had their name stolen by the cult. Complicated.
Things are difficult. I mean,
Yeah.
MTV never saw this coming up. So yeah, I think you move into you're moving around and you see your ex who like motions you into a house and closes the door behind you as the people lose your trail. And Clarion uh, looks around, like, sort of like the old days when he was much more loyal. And then he sort of stops and realizes what he's doing and puts a hand to his forehead. I'm already breaking rules. You're back? I mean, did you come back to stay?
I'm not here to stay. I came back for someone else, and now I'm thinking that it wasn't a great idea.
So you're going to leave again.
I don't know what to say, Clarion. I realize that you believe in Doghead, but I do not, and there's not a place here for those who don't believe that Doghead is here to save
Well, I
us
mean,
all.
it's hard not to believe once you see what he's done. I mean, I don't remember who you were before much, but I hear you serve him as a advisor still, in a way, speaking to the winds.
I advise him still?
Not you that is, but the you that was taken by him.
I kind of move in closer and place a hand on his side and whisper into his ear, could you tell me about this other me?
Are you trying to manipulate or seduce him?
Yeah. So I'm gonna roll.
Yes, roll plus hot.
Okay, and that's a 10.
Okay, so was it a manipulate or a seduce?
Oh, let me. I mean, I'm. What's the difference between manipulate and seduce again? I'm just trying to
It'll
find.
just be like how he delivers. Like manipulate is more just like getting them to do what you want. Seduction is like using old time's sake or offering more sensual things. It'll just change how he delivers the information.
Oh yeah, it was a seduce then.
Yeah, I think he reaches up, slowly strokes at one of the sound pieces of your prosthetic, and
It
whispers
echoes a little under his touch.
and like whispers into your ear. He says no one escapes from him, that everything he takes stays with him. I'm worried he might take more names, but I was kind of honored that you stayed with us, the old you. I mean, and I think you see like the flash of uncertainty in his eyes, like if it's true.
Hmm. So the flash of uncertainty is about whether or not.
Like, is Doghead lying? You know, no one escapes me. That sounds very machismo laden.
Okay, I was just checking. I wasn't certain what
Yeah,
that
that's fine.
meant. I guess I'd say I can stay for a bit, whispering into his ear, and then I lean in to kiss him.
And I think like as the kiss happens, the screen goes black, and that we start pulling back out, and we see Sundown's way too thick parka for this weather, just bouncing down the street with like no one watching them anymore. And Sundown, I think you've come to a new part of the compound that was not here when Piper, or the Piper that was here. And it's this real, like, if you've seen Game of Thrones where Brienne was thrown in with the bear, it's like a very dug out, low gladiatorial pit. And inside is one of the more dangerous beasts of the woods. I'd say like I think sort of like a velociraptor style lizard bird being that's pacing about. And I think you see several people walking on the upper ends of this pit, looking down and trading some of the different items that are useful or more important at the moment. What do you do?
I'm going to saunter up to the people that are there and just, what are you doing with the beast?
Oh, we have. Are you new? We've gotten great blessings. Doghead has captured this beast, and we send others that we capture to it. And if it slays them, we eat.
You eat the people that lost to the beast.
People? No, other beasts. Why would
Oh,
we eat people?
I was confused. I thought you said you brought other people that you captured, but you were talking about other beasts. Okay.
We're not monsters, as like one of them throws a rock at the animal.
Well, I mean, people have to eat. I'm not here to judge.
Are you here to bet?
No, I'm not a betting person. Can you tell me about Doghead? I've heard so much about him. Piper talks about him constantly. Piper brought me here. Do you know Piper?
And they look very confused as they know the Piper that was, not the Piper that is. It's like, that name has no meaning, but Doghead's name is glorious and wonderful. He will save us all, save us and take us to the new age, the age of the promised.
How is he going to do that?
And I will say, you are in a conversation. Do you want to read a person so you may have a hold to ask them specific questions?
Yeah.
So roll 2d6 plus sharp.
Okay. All right, that was another 9, it looks like, and my sharp is 2, so that's another 11.
You may hold 3, and you may ask one question right now if you'd like, or just hold them for the conversation.
So is it anything I want to ask, or
No, it's the list on the basic ref book,
Fine.
page 27, I believe.
the reader person?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to use one of them. How could I get your character to introduce me to dog meat or Doghead?
I believe you could get this person to take you to Doghead if you won the betting, but that's about their limit.
Okay.
And
How does the betting work?
you bet on a time that you believe the other creature will last. The closer you are to the actual time, the more you win.
And do I get to see the other creature first?
Of course.
How much do you need for a bet?
And they'll mention just like what amounts to 1 barter for the start, up to 3.
Okay. I'm not much of a betting person, but I'll put 1 barter down.
Yeah, and you pull out some nice bauble. They ooh and ah about it and put it on this, like, looks like a postmodern art project with all these different items on it. And you're shown to the beast they captured of the day, which is probably like a small triceratops-like creature. Looks like it would be dangerous and all that nonsense, but it's a sport, a bad sport.
So, the big bad creature, how much bigger is he than this other creature here?
The triceratops-like thing is wider and stockier, whereas the other one is probably taller and has better reach. And, as a predator.
Am I able to see how they're moving, how agile they seem?
Yeah, the triceratops-sized one has no horns. It doesn't have any like weapon. It has a frill.
Okay.
And but it looks stocky, slow, and tired.
Okay, so I'm just need to say how long I think it's going to last before it goes down.
Yeah, and like you can just you can even ask a question like how could I get your character to tell me what they think the odds are, or
Sure.
or what does your character wish I'd do or wish I'd bet?
Okay. Let's go with that one. What does your character wish that I would bet?
And that's they wish you'd bet for a long period of time because they think this is going to be a short match.
Yeah. So I'm going to put a bet down for 30 seconds.
Okay, I think like you bend over as they're bringing the beast in, and the two animals run to meet each other, and we're going to fade back into the Somerset and Xenophon scene real quick. And Stephen, you're not muted. That's what that was. I was but Somerset, you heard the footsteps coming down the stairs. Would you like to you're still holding two from Dangerous and Sexy. And do you want to wait for them to get down the stairs? Do you want to maybe bait a trap for them with one of the tactical moves? Which are Kitty? No. Which are just more flavor for the moves, but
I think I'm just gonna wait until they get down, and I'm just expecting to approach and just handle it.
yeah, and I think you smell them before you see them, and they smell pungent. Like the audience would recognize the smell as coming from the flowers of Doghead's compound. And these two people who are holding weapons that are definitely made for war, like a machete, and the other guy has a sawed-off shotgun. They look like they came to fight. And I think they turn down the hallway, see you standing against the wall, and stop and stare at you. Where are the rest? Yeah, where are the rest?
The rest of who?
We know there's a congregation here, a collection of people. We're going to take them, folks, and, well, ask them some questions.
There ain't shit down here. I've been looking for stuff. I haven't found anything. And definitely no people.
Sounds like you're manipulating them.
Yes.
So roll 2d6 plus your hot.
That is an 11.
Yeah, I think they easily buy it, as they're not the smartest of the cultists. So you've been looking back here, down here. What have you found?
Well, I mean, does it look like I'm carrying anything? I haven't found jack shit. What have you found?
Oh, well, some like books upstairs in stacks, and lots of dust, and there was this tasty little lizard. Like haven't had a little lizard in a while. Like the guy with the machete hits the guy on the head. It's like you recognize the sound from upstairs just a few moments ago. It's like, idiot. She's probably a scav. She's going to take what we have. Oh, shit. And they compare your weaponry to theirs and book it back upstairs. But yeah, you realize that at least for a while you have chased off the gang. They may be you're not sure how smart the leader is, but this could be a great time to make your escape.
Yeah, I think that sounds like a good idea. I'd probably definitely... Well, I would want to let Xenophon know.
Oh yeah, I figure like
that,
everyone's escape.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I don't want to lead everybody right into a trap. So I want to make a tactical escape.
Yeah. This sounds like you are using one of the subterfuge moves, which are on ref book page 29. And it sounds like you're doing yourself as you're the mouse.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
So yeah. I think like first you want to have a scene with Xenophon about telling him what happened and
Yeah.
gathering the followers. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I would approach Xenophon and kind of hush because I don't want the whole group to hear of it. Hey, there's some guys up there looking for us, like us. Like they want to take us somewhere.
Okay, so where are they now?
Well, I told them to fuck off, and they fucked off. So
Okay.
now I think we need to fuck off.
Yeah, that sounds great. So let me gather the crew together, and I do think we need to be wary because you may think that they have gone off, but Did,
Well,
did they look like that they were looking for us?
they said they were looking for, our a group fitting our description, let's say, and they seem pretty stupid. So I'm pretty sure they're gone. But I was thinking I could probably go out, check and make sure, and I think it should be safe, but it's safer to be safe.
Okay, so yeah, I'll talk to the crew and let them know that the coast seems to be clear, but we're gonna double check it, and we'll be following up right behind you.
All right, yeah, that's a good idea. And by the way, great work today with the sermon. One of your finest works.
Well, I must say, I appreciate your getting those losers out of here.
Yeah, and I think with that, I would turn to, I guess try to figure out what's going on out there. Hopefully, get us out.
Yeah, and Xenophon will turn to the people waiting in that room and say, "Okay, the danger has passed, but we're gonna,
Yeah.
follow
So
behind."
you're going to roll plus cool, take a +1 from your read a sitch earlier. So
That is an 8.
okay, so your prey will catch you out, but you get to decide where they find you.
Yeah, I think they probably catch me sort of in the area that the sermon was, with the pews and the books. I think they probably, maybe they didn't believe me that there was nothing up there, and so they went to do a double check.
And I think you catch the two out there. It's like they're checking the books. They're like one of them. You can hear them talking about like their uncle used to keep a flask in these things. They're looking for alcohol in the books, and they don't notice you at first, but then you hear the sounds of footsteps, and you turn around and you recognize you see someone who you've seen before. She did work for Lord Newton. She does not appear to be right now, or at least allegiances have changed. She has the cult's flowers all over her, and I think her weapon of choice is a large uh, cavalry saber, not a uh, maintained to a very pristine sheen, so she can use it as a machete if she needs to. And what sign does she bear from your last fight together?
I think she has some bruising around her neck because I think in our last fight I had a chain wrapped around her neck that I was pulling on, and I didn't finish the job. Something interrupted me. I could have definitely finished her off, and for some reason I didn't.
Yeah, and she shakes her head and just, oh, Somerset, darling. And then she looks at the other two who are looking through the books. And my fools they put me in charge of. You didn't say you found anyone. And one of the guys looks up like, but she's just a scav. She's just looking around too. Yeah, if she's looking around, there's got to be some cool stuff here. And she
Yeah, it would make sense that you'd be in charge of people like that.
rolled to shut someone down. And she shakes her head. Times have changed, and we don't have to be enemies. I don't work for Lord Newton anymore. Not after what you did. It's been a step down, but if you're scavving, it's not like things are going well for you.
Well, things. You know what? You're not right very often, but times have changed, and Actually, everything is going swimmingly for me.
Oh, so you don't need to know about a job that could pay quite handsomely.
Well, just because times have changed doesn't mean times can't change again. I mean, my ears are open.
Good. Well, you see, there's a bounty out. There's a man called Doghead, of all things, that he's looking for this man, Hydropon, Lefarion, Xenophon, something. Bring his head to Doghead, and how cliche is that? And he's going to give you your weight in bullets, blades, and whatever you need to keep doing the job.
I mean, it sounds like kind of an easy job. Like, I thought you were hot shit. Why haven't you done it yet?
Because I'm living there right now, okay? These are my aunt's kids. I have to show them the ropes.
I see. Well, that does sound like a pretty intriguing. I mean, why are you telling me this though? Because I could just go and do it and get the bounty.
Because I'm here right now, and he was tracked to this church, so I figure you had something to do with him. Either you know of him, or you tracked him down here anyway, so either way, I'm just playing the odds.
Yeah, no, I mean, I wish I knew where he was, especially now that I know this is worth so much money. But you know, it, sometimes sometimes you win them, sometimes you lose them.
Oh, I think you need to manipulate her into believing you don't know anything.
Okay. And that is plus cool.
Plus
You said?
hot.
Plus hot. That's a 7.
Okay, I think you need to give her some encouragement that you know nothing, and like this can be like encouraging her to remember the past, or maybe giving her false hints on where you did hear this guy was going to be nice.
Okay. All right. Look, I've heard of the guy, right? I mean, obviously, you're not going to catch me hanging around with all these. I mean, this place is trash. There's nothing of worth here. I wouldn't be here if I wasn't tracking him. But you know that I'm able to track a guy down when I need to find a guy, and there ain't nobody here. I don't know. You probably got the same intel I did, and that intel was shit.
Saying where it came from, and she looks at her relatives. What it got me. Boys, we're going home. We'll be finding this guy sooner or later. Thanks, Somerset.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll catch you later.
She walks out with her guys, and after like a good 20 minutes, there's no sign of them coming back. There's no sound of the bird being done in the forest again. So I think this is definitely when Xenophon and the rest can come out of the woodwork, no longer being held down by the hunters.
Yeah, I would go and give them the signal to. And the coast is clear.
Yeah, and I think Xenophon, is I guess one is this character Doghead, who is, I mean, why would Doghead be after me?
Ooh, do you want to open your brain about it?
Yeah, that sounds good. To kind of get a sense of why I would be somebody with a target. Yeah.
Yeah, roll plus weird.
All right. So with my weird, it will be an 8.
Okay, what I think you get is this sensation of weirdness as like I think your followers are talking, like their words start babbling together, and you begin losing yourself in sort of this literal stream of consciousness, like you're moving outside of the church, outside of the forest, to Doghead's compound. And you're looking down at Doghead. You see him just going about his daily business. And that's when you realize you're looking down at Doghead. And you think he looks up. Well, and it might be at you, it might be at something else, but before you snap back, it's definitely like he's having to look up to you, and that doesn't sit right.
Yeah. So, um, I think with that knowledge, I would, uh, I'd say to Somerset, my sense with this Doghead is he's motivated by petty, foolish pride. Um, I think we need to be wary, though. I mean, he doesn't seem to keep the smartest of followers, but stupidity can be dangerous nonetheless.
Yeah, they're not the smartest, but stupid people don't know when to quit.
Right, and they also don't know who the correct people are to follow.
Yeah, I mean, if they were smart, they'd be following you.
Yeah, so I do think, Somerset, I have much to think about, and I think we need to not only be wary. I think we need to find out more about what his exact intentions are. I mean, clearly he wants to take me down, but
Yeah, and I think with like the final thing we see, and like the is one of your new followers from the growth tag comes up to Xenophon, like places a hand on him, and his hand carries the scent of those flowers. And like I think like the last thing the camera sees is Xenophon turning to this guy with like the "I have something to say" face, and
Mhm.
"To be continued" comes up. The screen goes black. And with that, I'm going to end the broadcast, and we will do some stars and wishes and see how things went.